See, that's the problem with a victim mentality. It allows the most races of people to appease your need for validation. Roxanne could put on, what I'm saying, a little black girl on her TV show. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'm watching what's Orange is the New Black, right? And the character Judy, I think her name is Judy Bloom. It might be Judy Bloom, which is the name of a fucking author too. But she does a racist fucking goddamn a puppet show, and it comes out that she does a racist puppet show. So then she motherfucking goddamn gets down with the sisters in the jail and takes a lesbian picture with one of them, and then has that released. You know, and that's her. She appeases the black folks, and for a moment, even within the fucking construct of the show, she appeases the black folks she's with because she needs to appease them until she's challenged. Her privilege is challenged by the other white inmates, and then again she has to motherfucking goddamn resort back to motherfucking chilling with the white races. She don't just chill with white people. She goes to the extreme and chills with to appeasing the white races. And see, that's the thing about even with Donald Trump. Donald Trump kicking it with motherfucking Kanye West one day, but then in retaliation to kicking it with Kanye West, I've got to motherfucking persuade the motherfucking NFL leaders, I mean NFL owners, to ban this motherfucking goddamn stance against police brutality. See, that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? For every Ben Carson, there's a blowback that's even larger than and that's what the Ben Carsons of the world and the Stephen A. fucking Smiths and fucking Charles Barkley's don't see. That it's a lot larger picture than what it is they want to see. I heard something else that Charles Barkley was saying, and I can't remember the context, and people were asking if it was some coon shit or if it wasn't, and it really was, and I just can't really remember the context of what he was saying, so I can't really get into it, my rebuttal to what he said. But when we are forced to appease or to seek validation through appeasement from our oppressor, we are always subject to the backlash that goes with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I was talking about my personal situation with my family. Now they made me a lot of promises. You know what I'm saying? If I, invested, in such and such in the household, and if I did this and this is what they would do in recuperation. If I paid loans off, if I paid, certain utilities off, I would get, I would receive some reimbursement for it. And though I had a relationship with my family beforehand and know that these things aren't going to be true, I decided to go ahead and invest my money. At the end of the day, I ended up losing my money and being on the street and had to motherfucking, take stock on having a relationship with them all together, and that's the castigation. You know what I'm saying? That's where it came to the point where we're just not going to communicate. Now, it's not victim to go into the circumstances which led to, if you were victimized, it's not a victim mentality to address your being victimized. It is a victim mentality if you continue to enter into the circumstances in which you're victimized. Talking about your particular how you were victimized is not a victim mentality. That's the Victorian. That's the recovery. That's the conscious awareness that you are a victim, that you were a victim, and that you are no longer going to tolerate being victimized. Now, I think Jada was talking about that when she was talking about with Gabrielle Union, um, that part of accepting who you are, because that's the visibility part, and we all seek visibility to the degree that others are willing to give us visibility. If people are only willing to see the negative aspects of us, then in order to attain visibility, validation will allow for negative visibility. It's out of fear that, and even in that, you because you have to come to terms with your own negative actions and result and your own negative actions in relationship to your negative result. Like you created this reality. But if you're only conscious of your negative actions and you're not conscious of your positive actions, you continue to create a negative reality. And those who are negative, those who are um, uh, social metaphysicians, those who feed off of you like that, those who choose to victimize you, those narcissistic personalities that choose to feed off of you, will utilize your need for visibility in order to help you create that negative reality by only focusing on and keeping you focusing on the negative aspects of you. That's a part of it. So knowing who you are and knowing what negative attributes you have or actions you have is not enough. You have to also be able to have authentic visibility of the positive aspects of you, because that is authentic visibility. Someone who can see not just the negative aspects of you, but the positive, who also wants to accentuate the positive and only wants to make you aware of the negative so that you can overcome them. So again, when we think of the situation, the circumstances that we're in, we have to, as a group, in our group psychology, we have to think of, we've been made a lot of promises. Integration was a big promise, that it was going to cure the fucking guy, and then we get, it's going to cure all the social ills that black people suffer and so on and so forth, and we're going to overcome. And even on the eve of integration, Martin Luther King had reservations. And those reservations were kept from us because they didn't want us to have those reservations, because integration is not in our best interest. And I'll continue to say that. And that's not, it's this, and the fact that they even try to make it a racist thing, that when it's impossible for us to practice racism, or that it's a thing about hate, it's a thing about self-love, it's about self-preservation. That due to their cognitive dissonance and the parataxic distortion that cognitive dissonance is there to keep in place, there's no way in the world we're going to receive equity in this system, because they can't perceive it. You know what I'm saying? They can't perceive it objectively. They can only perceive it, or even healthily intersubjectively. They can only perceive it through a maladaptive perspective. And since they can only perceive it through a maladaptive perspective, they're never going to truly give us authentic independence, liberty. We're never going to get that, because they can't authentically see us as a group. So, we as black people need to stop thinking of this from a psychological standpoint, stop thinking this from a spiritual standpoint, which is where they want us to think about it from, because it's to their benefit. I hope that was kind of, I hope I articulated that well. I know I'll be all over the place.